the top stories of the day. Understand the issues that matter. This is Manila Bulletin News on Web. Your quick rundown of top news in the country and around the world. Manila Bulletin, celebrating 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. Be fully informed. Hi, I'm Barbie Atienza. This is MB Now, and here are your news on web. President Rodrigo Roa Duterte is firm not to spend a single peso to pay for a reservation fee to pharmaceutical companies in developing a vaccine for COVID-19. In his public address, the president also added that it is against Philippine law and that these firms just want buyers to finance their vaccine research and development efforts. Our Malacanang correspondent Argil Heducos has the details.
President Duterte will not spend a single peso to pay a reservation fee to pharmaceutical companies that have yet to develop a vaccine for COVID-19. In his public address on Monday evening, President Duterte claimed there are pharmaceutical firms that want buyers to finance their vaccine research and development efforts. According to Duterte, even if these pharmaceutical companies that he refused to name were already in the advanced stage of their clinical trials, he cannot pay the reservation fee because it is against Philippine laws.
Kung wala tayong ibigay sa kanila cash advance, di walang vaccine. Di walang vaccine, di maghalik na lang tayo lahat para mas madali. That's I said one thing wrong with itong Western companies. Kaya sabi ko, we will give preference to Russia and China, provided that their vaccine is as good as any other in the market.
He said these companies must be crazy if they think the Philippines will just pay for something that is not certain. President Duterte said such companies are not welcome in the Philippines because they are just looking for someone who will finance their research and development activities.
Bakit ka naman magbayad na wala dyan? Talagang, if the companies are here, are representatives, mag-uwi na kayo sa inyo pag inisipain ko kayong makita ko kayo sa ano. If I happen to have dinner outside and see you somewhere in the hotels, I'll kick your ass. But bastusin ko kayo, umuwi kayo doon sa inyo, magyaw-yaw kayo.
According to President Duterte, the Philippines will give preference to China and Russia's COVID-19 vaccines as they extended a helping hand to the Philippines during the pandemic.
Pero kung sabihin mo na, sige, wala pa yung vaccine, there is nothing with finality, and you want us to make a reservation by depositing money, you must be crazy. Hindi ako bakit ako magbili ng ganong style? Because the procurement law of the Philippines, this country, does not allow you to buy something which is non-existent or to be produced as yet.
For MB Now, this is Argil Heducos reporting.
President Duterte chides the opposition anew. He even told the public to be wary of the opposition who do nothing but make noise. He urged the public not to believe the claims of critics about the supposed lapses in the government's COVID-19 response efforts. Let's hear it again from Argil Heducos.
President Duterte urged the public not to believe the claims of critics about the supposed lapses in the government's COVID-19 response efforts, saying the government has no business to lie to the people. In his public address on Monday evening, Duterte in particular told the public to be wary of the opposition who do nothing but make noise. The president explained that the threat of COVID-19 is still in the country even though the Philippines has a fewer number of cases compared to other countries. To date, the Philippines has recorded 265,888 COVID-19 cases.
Huwag ko sana kayong maniwala dyan sa mga dilawan, opposition, na hampas dito, hampas doon, kung anong pinagsasabi. For as long as the virus lives in this planet, we are put in real danger. Kayo naman, kung maniwala kayo, you get to be despondent.
According to Duterte, the government has no business to lie to the public about the situation.
Bakit kami magsinungaling na hindi namin trabaho yan at hindi naman kami pumasok sa trabaho para yan lang magsinungaling. Baski grade 1, grade 2, alam na namin kung ano ang pagmamahal sa bayan. So I hope that everybody would listen to reason. Makinig kayo sa rason. Huwag yang basta na lang, maniwala ka na ganito. Ganun talaga.
The president in particular eased the public's worry about the economy, saying the Philippines would really fall into recession because of the pandemic. Malacanang said that the National Task Force COVID-19 is now in the second phase of its National Action Plan, where it will balance health and the need to reopen the economy. For MB Now, this is Argil Heducos reporting.
Former PhiLealth President Ricardo Morales and several top-ranking officials will be facing charges over alleged anomalies within the corporation. This was approved by President Duterte as recommended by the Department of Justice-led panel. But the Health Chief Secretary Francisco Duque, who serves as PhiLealth chairman, is not included in the list of officials to be charged. Our Malacanang senior correspondent Jen Cabiling tells us why.
Former Philippine Health Insurance Corporation President Ricardo Morales and several top-ranking officials will be facing charges over alleged anomalies in the state corporation. President Duterte has approved the recommendations of the Department of Justice-led panel that included filing of administrative and criminal complaints against PhiLealth officials in connection with the alleged irregular procurement of information technology equipment, interim reimbursement mechanism releases, among others. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III, who serves as PhiLealth Board Chairman, on the other hand, is not included in the list of officials to be charged. Morales and other PhiLealth officials will be facing charges for alleged graft, malversation of public funds, dishonesty, grave misconduct, among others. The task force merely recommended a strong admonishment of the PhiLealth chairman to safeguard public funds.
The foregoing notwithstanding, the task force recommends that the President strongly admonish and remind the chairman and members of the board of a grave consequence of their action or inaction to PhiLealth fund, to the government and its coffers, and to the interests of the ordinary people who rely on PhiLealth assistance.
In reading the report, the President said the task force gathered evidence showing wrongful acts or omissions of certain key corporate officers of PhiLealth have committed.
While the board chairman and members exhibited negligence in several instances, to wit, their careless approval of ICT procurement, the ratification of the IRM, ito yung advance fund releases on March 2020, and the consent of the modification of judgment in court adjudicated cases, and negligence is somehow mitigated by the active concealment of vital documents and information, and the apparent misrepresentation by those who had sought the board's approval.
It also recommended pursuing criminal liability of the PhiLealth officials for alleged graft and malversation of public funds. The officials may also be held liable for violation of the National Internal Revenue Code in connection with the alleged failure to withhold taxes on IRM releases. For MB Now, this is Jen Cabiling reporting.
The Department of Health made its concern known over the reduced physical distancing in public transportation. According to DOH, the move could lead to the spike of coronavirus disease COVID-19 cases daily. Our correspondent Analu De Vera has this report.
The Department of Health said the reduced physical distancing in public transportation could lead to 686 additional COVID-19 cases daily. This was underscored by DOH Secretary Francisco Duque III as he cited a study from the Asian Institute of Management and the Healthcare Professionals Alliance Against COVID-19 during a meeting with President Duterte on Monday night, September 14.
Sinasabi nila, kung babawasan yung isang metro to 0.75 meters, from 1 meter to 0.75, and at a 50% ridership. In other words, ang pasasakayan, 50% ng population. No? Dito sa NCR, ang death rate natin, new cases every day, will reach 686 per day. So if you multiply that by 30 days, you will have about 20,580 cases. Ito po, per day po yan.
The health chief said that he will present the study of the AIM and HPAC during the meeting of the Interagency Task Force that focuses on the COVID-19 response. Recently, the HPAC said the relaxation of physical distancing measures in public transportation is not advisable at the moment amid the high number of COVID-19 cases being reported daily. For his part, National Task Force Against COVID-19 Chief Implementer Carlito Galvez Jr. believes there is a strong case for them to reduce physical distancing in public transportation.
Sir, I believe it is a matter of risk management po, sir. Kasi ano po sir, sa lahat po ng lahat po ng ginagawa natin, lahat po yan may risk. If we reduce the the 1 meter to 0.75, meron po tayong gagawing po sir at tawag nating risk mitigation. One of those is yung proper ventilation, meaning yung po sir, dapat nagsi-circulate yung hangin. And normally yung MRT natin at saka mga ating mga mass transport ginagawa po, sinisimulate po ni DOTR po yan. Nag-uusap-usap po kami na talagang bago po ipatakbuhin yung isang transport meron pong ginagawa silang mga mitigation process.
The IATF is set to resolve the issue during their scheduled meeting today. For MB Now, this is Ana Lu De Vera reporting.
More than half of Filipino adults believe that the worst is yet to come with the coronavirus disease pandemic, the latest social weather station SWS survey revealed. The survey conducted from July 3 to 6, 2020 among 1,555 respondents found that Filipino adults who believe that the worst is yet to come with the COVID-19 situation rose from 47% in May 2020 to 57% in July 2020. SWS said that those saying the worst is behind us fell from 44% in May to 35% in July 2020, while those who did not give an answer stayed at 8%. The proportion of those who fear the worst with the COVID-19 crisis is highest in Metro Manila at 70%, followed by the Visayas at 61%, balanced Luzon at 56%, and Mindanao at 49%. Compared to May 2020, the proportion of those who fear the worst rose sharply in Metro Manila, up by 20 points from 50%. In Metro News, vendors will be prioritized in COVID-19 mass testing, according to Manila Mayor Isko Moreno. Valenzuela City to implement no QR code, no entry policy starting October 5. And Pasig government to regularize more than 600 employees. More from this report.
Hundreds of vendors from 17 public markets in the city of Manila will be the first to get tested for the COVID-19 once the local government's second molecular laboratory opens next week at the Santa Ana Hospital. Manila Mayor Francisco Isko Moreno Dumagoso ordered the city's health and market officials to prioritize vendors to ensure their safety as well as their customers. Dumagoso said the officials must schedule a day where vendors of the public markets will undergo simultaneous swab testing for free. After the vendors, the Manila Mayor said they will proceed to test tricycle, pedicab, and jeepney drivers. The implementation of no QR code, no entry policy in Valenzuela has been moved to an earlier date as requested by the city's contact tracers. Mayor Rex Gatchalian on Monday said that instead of November 16, the policy will take effect starting October 5. A no QR code, no entry policy will be implemented in enclosed establishments, including private and public ones, in the city as faster way to collect information of customers or visitors for contact tracing purposes amid coronavirus disease crisis. People going to the malls, groceries, offices, among others, will no longer have to fill out information forms as showing their personal QR codes generated through ValTrace application will automatically submit their details to the establishments as they are going. The Pasig City government will start regularizing its employees with short-term renewable contracts and has worked for the local government for 15 years or longer, according to Mayor Vico Soto. This is the second phase of Soto's sweeping reforms to regularize contractual and job-ordered employees of the local government. Soto has begun regularizing contractual employees of the local government with 20 years in service or more since his leadership last year. On his 31st birthday last June 17, Soto signed an appointment papers of over 100 City Hall employees and made them permanent employees of the local government. Mayor Soto's dream for Pasig to have a local government with first insulated in politics and second with meritocracy that is authentic.
And here are the top news in other parts of the country. 3,000 workers in high-risk sectors to undergo expanded testing in Baguio. COVID-19 infects 9 pregnant women in Iloilo City. And 3 workers at popular night market in Davao City test positive for COVID-19. More from this report.
Around 3,000 persons from high-risk sectors will undergo expanded testing for coronavirus disease that will be conducted by the city government of Baguio on September 17 to September 19. Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong said around 2,000 persons in the city and 1,000 others in the neighboring towns belonging to the different sectors considered as susceptible to the virus will be targeted for the second round of expanded testing. Magalong also assured that the city's anti-COVID-19 systems on prevention, detection, control, and treatment will continue to be in place and will be adjusted or improved as needed. The local government of Iloilo City has issued a warning that more pregnant women were getting infected with coronavirus disease in the city. The city government said that at least 9 pregnant women have tested positive in results released Monday. Pregnant women were being prioritized for COVID-19 testing as most hospitals in the city require negative test results prior to being admitted to give birth. Meanwhile, several barangays have been on surgical lockdown since Monday night after registering more than 3 COVID-19 cases. Mayor Sara Duterte said on Monday that 2 vendors and a security personnel at the popular Rojas Night Market in Davao City tested positive for coronavirus disease. The local government reopened the night market to help the livelihood of the displaced vendors, but only 25% of the total vendors and masseurs were allowed to return to the market, taking turns every 2 weeks. The new entrants would be subjected to RT-PCR tests. The 3 workers have been isolated at a temporary treatment and monitoring facility immediately after their RT-PCR results came out.
In world news, Portland residents struggle with air pollution caused by massive fires. Scientists find gas on Venus linked to life on Earth. And ball python lays eggs despite no contact with a male for over 15 years. Let's watch this.
Portland residents are facing hazardous air pollution due to the smoke caused by massive wildfires in Oregon. The deadly fires spreading across 3 western U.S. states are causing record-breaking pollution in a spate of health woes, from headaches and coughs to impaired vision, that have residents worried about the long-term consequences. On Monday, the city ranked second worst on IQ Air's live global air quality rating lists, only behind Vancouver, to the north in Canada, which has fallen victim to the smoke from fires in neighboring Washington state. The local authorities also advised residents to prevent going outside. The atmosphere of Venus contains traces of phosphine gas, which on Earth can be attributed to living organisms according to scientists, in a fresh insight into conditions on our nearest planetary neighbor. Conditions on Venus are often described as hellish, with daytime temperatures hot enough to melt lead and an atmosphere comprised almost entirely of carbon dioxide. A team of experts detected traces of phosphine, a flammable gas that on Earth often occurs from the breakdown of organic matter. Writing in Nature Astronomy, the team stressed the presence of phosphine did not prove the presence of life on Venus. A female ball python has produced 7 eggs despite having no contact with a male in over 15 years. According to St. Louis Zoo in Missouri, said the snake is over 50 years old and the oldest ever documented in a zoo. Herpetologists are carrying out genetic sampling to find out if the python reproduce sexually or asexually, as snakes can store sperm for delayed fertilization.
In entertainment, Korean actress Oidi was found unconscious on September 14 at her home in Incheon City in South Korea, has died. She was 36. She was found at about 5 a.m. after suffering cardiac arrest at her home, according to the police. Before her death, on Oinie's last Instagram post was on September 12, wherein she uploaded selfies and wished everyone a great weekend. She also released a skincare tutorial video on her YouTube account. A memorial service will be held at Inha University Hospital, and the funeral ceremony will be held on September 16. 6 shows featuring Kapamilya stars are among programs that will be airing on TV5 soon. In an article published on ABS-CBN, the partnership is said to have happened after Bright Light Productions secured block time slots with the Capatid network. Titles that viewers could expect airing on TV5 soon include noontime show Laugh Out Loud, hosted by Billy Crawford, Alex Gonzaga, Kay Brosas, and Waki Kiray. A Sunday noontime variety show featuring Piolo Pascual and Catriona Gray. Sunday Kada Kada Sunday, to be directed by Edgar Mortiz. Romantic drama series I Got You, starring Beauty Gonzalez, R.K. Bagatsing, and Yen Santos. There's also the reboot of Corina Sanchez's Rated K, which will be known as Rated Corina. And sitcom Oh My Dad, starring Ian Veneracion, Dimples Romana, and Gloria Diaz. And in sports, De La Salle University, through its new program backer attorney Man Scarpio, formally welcomed Mark Nonoy and Dio Quahao to its men's basketball team Tuesday. In a photo release, Nonoy and Quahao were seen wearing the DLSU green jacket and white shirt, along with Carpio and Team Phenom Sports President Jackson Chua. Carpio was reportedly responsible for recruiting the 2 players from the University of Santo Tomas, which have been the center of controversy the past weeks due to the Sorsogon trading bubble. Nonoy and Chua have been under Team Phenom Sports. A product of Negros Occidental, Nonoy clinched the UAAP Rookie of the Year plum in season 82 with an average of 11.11 points, 3.83 rebounds, and 2.78 assists. Quahao, meanwhile, made his presence felt in the PBA D-League. The two will have to sit out 1 year before being eligible for the UAAP season 84. And those are the news on Web today, September 15, 2020. It's just 101 days before Christmas. For more news and details, get your copy of Manila Bulletin newspaper tomorrow or log on to www.mb.com.ph. You may also subscribe to our newsletter through our link on this video's caption to have the day's latest news delivered to your inbox. I am timely stories and timeless truths. Join us again tomorrow. This has been MB Now. Be fully informed.